Good morning, everyone. How you doing today? So, I got a comment on one of the videos we did. I think it was Sunday early evening. We posted it. It was about the Silicon Valley Bay Area real estate prices. So I got a particular comment from a viewer who is stressed out, and what I'm going to do is actually read their comment and kind of share my thoughts. As you'll see in their comment, you could almost feel you can almost feel the emotions involved in her comment. So let me read it to you, and then we're going to talk about it. I'm going to let her know that this video is created just for her. I believe it's a her based on the name. Social media, you can never tell for sure, but we will give it a shot. So this is for Kitty Cake 3700. And it's on the video. Let's talk Silicon Valley Bay Area prices, that video from Sunday. So here's her comment. I really want to buy. I've been approved, as I told you. I took back my earnest money on a new build. I'm kind of getting discouraged because I feel like I missed out. Prices are so high locally. Should I wait? Scared of bidding wars. I don't feel prices are going to go down anytime soon. I need pure guidance as I'm doing it alone so far ahead of my goal. So really what is in this comment is a couple of things. First off, again, I'm going to say her. I believe it's a her, but I could be wrong. It looks like she was in contract to buy a new build in the Bay Area. She backed out of it, got her earnest money back. And now, she's feeling a little bit discouraged. So let's set up the Bay Area, talk about the Bay Area so you can appreciate the position she's in. So the Bay Area, where I've lived for nearly 5 decades, is ridiculously expensive. And a lot of folks expected this health crisis to really slow down price appreciation. And really, for the most part, outside of San Francisco, it's done the exact opposite. We have seen record low inventory in most Bay Area cities. And with record low inventory, and again, people interested in space, you are seeing bidding wars, cash offers, up to an hour away from, the Bay Area, right? So the work from home kind of mindset. And this is I've done videos about Lake Tahoe, for example, which is like 3 hours away. Prices are up 25% year on year. So the Bay Area has gone from ridiculous pricing to, insane pricing. And the question is, what do you do, right? If you're sitting in a position where you want to buy your first home, what do you do? Like I said in the title, this is definitely FOMO, fear of missing out. I don't normally talk about owner-occupied purchases because it is far more emotional, right? Schools and where you want to raise your kids and all of those things. If you follow my channel, you know that my model is a lot more analytical, right? I look for the yield or cash on cash and kind of make that decision on that. But let's talk about this. Again, it's very emotional. I want to offer help or advice or at least an opinion on what to do. First off, I would say FOMO, fear of missing out, the emotional tug and pull of that is, in my experience, dangerous. It often leads to rash decisions that we have buyer's remorse on. It has to feel terrible being ready to pull the trigger, being approved to pull the trigger, but just can't. What I would tell you is Kitty Cake 3700 is just like I've been saying for 6 months on this channel. We are in a very unusual time, and that includes the Silicon Valley. We are seeing a dearth of inventory. People that have homes are staying put. If they have a home and they have a second home, they're leaving to their second home. We are not seeing the inventory that we normally would, right? The summer selling season didn't happen, or spring selling season didn't happen. I believe we're seeing artificial price increases because demand far exceeds supply. I am hearing about $100,000 price escalations in offers. none of this feels sustainable to me. I could always be wrong. But what I see happening in the Silicon Valley, I see all over Facebook and Instagram, it doesn't feel sustainable. I know I certainly wouldn't want to overpay by $100,000 in an automatic acceleration clause. So I guess what I would advise someone in your shoes is to take a breath, appreciate that, you know what, maybe you won't buy anything in 2020. That's okay. It's okay. I think there's a couple of things you have to realize in the Bay Area specifically. First, again, fear of missing out is dangerous. Second, when you're thinking Silicon Valley, something we have to think about living here is the commute, right? Right now, the commute is kind of a non-question because of all the work from home. I don't think that'll last forever. If you buy a place that's 60 minutes away from the Bay Area or from your headquarters or where you work in an office, maybe the next 12 months it's okay because you go once a week, twice a week. But if you live in the Bay Area, you know about people spending 2.5, 3 hours a day one way. That commute will bury you long term. So commute's a real thing. I would not plan for, hey, I only got to go to the office once a week for the rest of my career. I don't think that's going to be true. Second, it sounds like, again, Kitty Cake 3700, you're doing this by yourself. Again, I've been in the Bay Area a long time, and the Bay Area will have another .com crash, right? The Bay Area technology sector has done amazingly well in this crisis. We could get out of this crisis and never feel it. And frankly, I hope that's true. But we will have another .com crash at some point in the future that directly impacts the Silicon Valley. So I'll ask you, what would happen if you got laid off, right? How much reserves would you have? Again, just reading your comment on that video, it sounds like you're putting most of your liquid cash into a house. That's not great financial planning, right? Because we will have a rainy day. If this health crisis has proved anything, reserve funds are more important than they've ever been. So I would think about that. And then the last one I've always talked about is how long do you plan to stay? If you're going to be in your house until you die, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. If you're going to be there 10 years, really doesn't matter, in my opinion, when you buy. But if you're going to be there 2 or 3 years and hope to go somewhere else, it's pretty tough to be bidding on properties today. The other thing we just need to realize, and why today is really risky, again, what is it? Kitty Cake 3700, is I think the Silicon Valley is on the cusp of a economic shift. And we could come out of this a lot stronger, or we could be less important. The Silicon Valley the last 20 years has moved the country and frankly moved the world with the innovations. It's one of the reasons prices are so high. But with this work from home, with higher taxes coming, with the reality that we're not going to be attracting that next generation of inventors and creators, I'm not sure that the Silicon Valley has the same pixie dust and magic it's had the last 2 or 3 decades. And that could be a problem, right? If we don't attract, as we talked about in the Sunday interview, that next generation of PhDs and masters in computer science and engineering, will we not be the next Instagram or Facebook in 5 to 10 years? What if it's created in Austin, Texas? What if it's created in, Boulder, Colorado? What if it's created in, I don't know, Miami or Fort Lauderdale or somewhere else? So I think there's a lot of uncertainty. So I guess if I was to give one piece of advice to Kitty Cake 3700, it's take a breath. You're not going to die if you don't buy a house. Fear of missing out, at least in my experience, has caused me to make lots of bad decisions, not good. The economy today in the world and in the Silicon Valley are going through a change. And will prices go up forever? I doubt it. Could they? Sure. I mean, a $2.4 million house in Palo Alto could be $4 million someday. Could be. Should it be? Probably not. But could it be? Sure. So I think I'd give yourself a break. I think you're putting so much pressure on yourself to buy something that it's probably causing sleepless nights. And yeah, so, hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully you're giving yourself permission to take a breath. I think waiting until after the election or next year is interesting. The thing to wait for, in my opinion, is when does inventory come back? When does inventory come back to its normal levels? Right? Because we're 40 to 60% below normal levels, except San Francisco, which is actually up 100%, which is why I think San Francisco and New York are in trouble. So again, I don't normally talk owner occupants. I'm far more analytical, which you can do with investment and rental properties. But given the, stress, concern I felt for Kitty Cake 3700, I'm looking down at my computer while you keep seeing me look away. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to send her this link. Hopefully it helps her. I assume it's a her. You just never know in social media days. All right, everybody, take care of yourself. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.